What happens when Batman becomes the nightmare he swore to fight? What if the Dark Knight embraces the darkness completely? Trust me on this one, you're about to meet versions of Batman that'll make the Joker look like a friendly neighbor. From a Batman who literally stole the Flash's speed to one who became a god of war. From the nightmare that is the Batman who laughs to versions that make even the darkest timeline look bright. Let's kick this off with the Red Death. And no, we're not talking about some fancy wine. The Red Death is a villainous version of Batman from Earth 52 in the DC universe, and his story? It's basically every parent's worst nightmare on steroids. Picture this. Batman of Earth 52 once fought crime with the help of his Robins, who were his sidekicks. Unfortunately, as time went on, many different Robins had lost their lives during various missions with the Caped Crusader, which drove him mad. Think about that for a second. Losing not just one Robin, but multiple ones. That'd break anyone, right? So, what does a broken Batman do? He decides he needs to be faster, forcing Bruce to seek more extreme ways to prevent the crimes he felt he wasn't fast enough to stop. Batman set his sights on his world's Flash, determining that he could use the Speed Force better than the Speedster himself could. Now here's where things get dark, and I mean dark. Batman uses weapons he obtained from the Rogues, Captain Cold's Freeze Ray, Heatwave's Heat Gun, Mirror Master's Mirror Gun, and Weather Wizard's Wand to fight the Flash from his universe. After defeating Barry, Batman then chains him to the hood of the Batmobile, which he had modified using the designs of the Cosmic Treadmill, and drives him and Flash into the Speed Force. As a result, Batman and Flash are forcibly fused into one being, with Bruce gaining Flash's powers and a corrupt connection to the Speed Force, while Barry's consciousness became trapped inside Bruce's body. The result? A speedster Batman who can think and move at superhuman speeds, but with Barry Allen screaming in his head the entire time. Red Death represents Batman's fear of losing members of the Bat family, his love for them, and regret for those he failed. Talk about living with your worst decision, literally inside your head. Next up, we have the Merciless. And if you thought Batman dating Wonder Woman was complicated in the main universe, wait till you hear this one. The Merciless is an evil version of Batman from the DC universe, specifically from Earth 12. On Earth 12, the god of war Ares managed to create a helmet that amplified his powers 100-fold. After learning of this, Batman and Wonder Woman vowed to slay the god and destroy his helmet. Here's where love becomes tragedy. The pair got embroiled in a 2-year-long war against Ares' forces before finally confronting the deity in combat, during which Wonder Woman was seemingly killed. Heartbroken over losing the woman he loved, Batman swore Ares would pay, then use the god of war's helmet to kill him, although its power corrupted Batman's mind in the process. But wait, there's a twist that makes this even worse. Afterward, Batman found that Wonder Woman was still alive and had just been stunned by Ares, but when she tried to remove the helmet from him, Batman chose to kill her rather than give up its power. Can you imagine? The woman you love, the person you just went to war for, and you kill her because you can't give up the power. That's not Batman anymore. That's just Merciless. The Merciless represents Batman's fear of who he would become if he started killing, how Wonder Woman helps him see the good in people, and his regret that he really cannot end his crusade since his villains keep coming back. Now, Flashpoint Batman. This one hits different because it's not Bruce Wayne under the cowl. When Barry Allen messed with time to save his mother, he created a world where Thomas Wayne exited a movie with his wife and son when they were approached by a mugger named Joe Chill. Chill attempted to steal Martha's pearls with a gun in hand, but before he could shoot, Thomas lunged and attacked the mugger, only for the bullet to hit his son Bruce, killing him to his parents' dismay. So in this timeline, it's Thomas Wayne who becomes Batman. But this isn't your friendly neighborhood Dark Knight. Months later, Thomas tracked down Chill and was going to poison him, but decided to beat him to death with his bare hands. And Martha? His wife Martha was so traumatized by the event she cut her face into a garish Glasgow smile and soon enough descended into insanity and became the altered timeline's Joker. Think about that dynamic, Batman versus Joker, but their husband and wife who lost their child. It's Shakespeare-level tragedy wrapped in a superhero story. As opposed to his son, he used more brutal methods to fight crime, even go as far as killing his enemies. This Batman uses guns, runs casinos to fund his war on crime, and has zero patience for criminals. What makes Thomas Wayne fascinating is that he eventually gets to meet his son from the main timeline. His message to Bruce? Stop being Batman. Be happy. Live your life. It's the one thing a father wants for his son, a better life than he had. Okay, this one's going to twist your brain a bit. The Batman of Zur-En-Arrh started as a weird Silver Age story about an alien Batman, but Grant Morrison turned it into something much more psychological. The story reveals that the Zur-En-Arrh persona is a backup personality created by Bruce Wayne in the event he was ever mentally compromised. The Zur-En-Arrh personality is more violent and unhinged than Batman's normal persona. Here's the wild part. Zur-En-Arrh comes from Bruce Wayne's mishearing of his father's last words. The sad thing is they'd probably throw someone like Zorro in Arkham. Young Bruce heard Zu-En-Arrh instead of Zorro in Arkham. That childhood trauma became the foundation for his mental backup system. During Batman's early years, he encountered Dr. Simon Hurt, who implanted a post-hypnotic trigger in Bruce's mind. Later, Batman created the Zur-En-Arrh personality as a backup, a failsafe in case his mind was ever attacked or compromised. It's basically Batman's psychological defense mechanism, stripped of all the Bruce Wayne elements that might hold him back. This version of Batman dresses in bright, garish colors, red, yellow, and purple. Why? The colorful costume actually serves a purpose. It reflects the total confidence of the Zur-En-Arrh Batman. After all, Robin dressed in bright colors for years and survived, proving that a confident fighter doesn't need to hide in the shadows. Think of Zur-En-Arrh as Batman without Bruce Wayne's humanity. Pure mission, no restraint. As defined by Bruce himself, the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh manifests as Batman without Bruce in the equation. It's what happens when you strip away everything that makes Batman human and leave only the mission. Owlman. He's not technically from the dark multiverse like our other evil Batmen, but he deserves a spot on this list because he's the OG evil Batman variant. On Antimatter Earth, Owlman was now Thomas Wayne Jr., the older brother of that reality's Bruce Wayne. In most mainstream DC universes, Batman's genesis occurred when young Bruce Wayne was witness to the murder of his parents and was inspired to devote his life to fighting crime. In the Antimatter universe, however, young Bruce was killed along with his mother, while his brother and father survived, with Thomas Jr. growing up to be Owlman. What makes Owlman terrifying isn't just that he's evil, it's that he's philosophically opposed to everything Batman stands for. While Batman fights for justice, Owlman embraces nihilism. He's not just a criminal, he's someone who fundamentally believes that nothing matters, so why not watch the world burn? In some versions, he is a crime lord on Earth, 3 and became Owlman after a conspiracy that cuts deeper than any ordinary betrayal. Thomas Wayne Jr. and his younger brother Bruce had planned together to murder their parents, but when the moment came, Bruce backed out, his conscience getting the better of him. That's when Alfred Pennyworth stepped in and gunned down Thomas and Martha Wayne, while Thomas Jr. personally executed his own brother Bruce for showing what he saw as weakness. Imagine Alfred being the Joe Chill of your story, but with Thomas Jr. as a willing accomplice who completes the family massacre himself. That's a betrayal that cuts deep, not just from a trusted butler, but from a brother who chose greed and power over family. You know how Batman always has a contingency plan for if Superman goes rogue? Well, the Devastator is what happens when Batman uses the nuclear option. The Devastator. He represents Batman's fear of losing hope, how important his friendship with Superman is, and both the fear and regret that he cannot fully trust the Man of Steel. On his Earth, Superman went bad, and Batman had to watch his best friend become a monster. So, what does Batman do? He injects himself with the Doomsday virus. Yes, that Doomsday, the creature that killed Superman. Batman literally turns himself into a monster to fight a monster. The result is a hulking, spike-covered Batman with all of Doomsday's strength and regeneration, but none of Bruce Wayne's humanity left. And now, the main event. The Batman who laughs. If you thought the other evil Batmen were nightmare fuel, this one's the whole gas station. The Batman who laughs was Bruce Wayne from Earth 22 of the Dark Multiverse. His origin? On Earth 22, the Joker's insane rampage across Gotham City caused Batman to finally snap, breaking his long-held creed to never take a life, snapping the clown prince of crime's neck to end the threat he posed once and for all. Unbeknownst to him, this released a special strain of Joker venom that Batman inhaled, slowly twisting his moral fiber until he was no different from the Joker himself. Here's where it gets horrifying. He killed the entirety of the Bat family while showing sadistic joy in their deaths. He corrupted Damian Wayne, turning him into a Jokerized Robin. He systematically destroyed his world's Justice League using their own confiscated weapons against them. But wait, it gets worse. Wonder Woman kills him, but the Dark Knights preserve his brain and transfer it to the body of Batmanhattan, a variant of Batman who possesses Dr. Manhattan's reality-warping abilities. Now known as the Darkest Knight, he attempts to remake the universe. The Batman who laughs represents the ultimate corruption of Batman, all of his intelligence, all of his resources, all of his planning, but with the Joker's complete lack of morality. As he says himself, "When I was Bruce Wayne, I thought that with enough preparation, I would always win. But I was wrong. To win, you need to adapt, and to adapt, you need to be able to laugh away all the restraints. Everything holding you back. You see, a Batman who laughs is a Batman who always wins." Now here's what's fascinating about all these evil Batmen. Each member of the first 7 Dark Knights are a representation of Batman's worst fears and regrets. They're not just random "what if Batman was bad" scenarios. They're each a specific nightmare that Bruce Wayne has about himself. The Red Death? That's his fear of not being fast enough to save his family. The Merciless? His fear of what he'd become if he started killing. The Devastator? His paranoia about Superman and inability to trust. The Batman who laughs? The ultimate fear, becoming the very evil he fights against. These aren't just evil versions of Batman, they're cautionary tales. They show us why Batman's rules, his moral code, his humanity, why all of that matters. Without it, he doesn't become ineffective. He becomes something far worse than any villain he's ever faced. Think about it. In every single one of these scenarios, Batman wins. He defeats his enemies, he gets the power he thinks he needs, he accomplishes his goals. But in winning, he loses everything that made him a hero in the first place. So there you have it. Every major evil Batman variant explained. From the tragedy of the Red Death to the cosmic horror of the Darkest Knight, these versions show us that Batman's greatest enemy isn't the Joker, isn't Bane, isn't even death itself. It's the darkness within him, the potential to become the very thing he swore to fight against. What's your take? Which evil Batman variant do you think is the most terrifying? Drop a comment below. I'm genuinely curious which one keeps you up at night. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the dark corners of the Batman mythos, hit that subscribe button. We've got more comic breakdowns, character analyses, and maybe, just maybe, we'll explore what happens when other heroes break bad. Remember, sometimes the best way to appreciate the light is to understand just how dark things could get. This is Geek Force. See you in the next one.